Dude. Welcome back, everybody, to The Baseline, Season 2, Episode 16. We're here with Isaiah Miles today. Thank you for joining us. We very much appreciate it. And we are excited to get started. We like to start every episode. I'm sure our listeners have heard this 1,000 times from me, but we give this platform for athletes to come in here and tell us their stories. As John was saying earlier, just show people that coming to play in Israel, you can continue, you can have a great career, you can have a good time, you can play with players who have played all over the world. And just for us to have this platform to be able to hear from athletes and hear their stories, and it's really cool for us to have this.
I know the players appreciate y'all having it too. Their voice can be heard, and you know what I'm saying, they can kind of have a platform if they want to shout something out or kind of get their voice or their whatever they got growing out of there. It's good to have it.
Totally. Absolutely. And just for us to be those guys, especially here, as I was saying before, in a place that has a lot of people who are loving basketball and a big audience who wants to find stuff in English just to listen to. So we're happy to be that platform. So just to get started here, again, we're happy to have you. What we like to do is typically just go back, talk about all kinds of things, really for young hoopers that are maybe listening to this, essentially how professionals, how their career went in terms of the decisions that you had to make along the way. So, for example, you starting in high school, you know, a lot of times we go back with our interviewees who we talk to. So what I noticed interesting about when you went to high school was that you switched high schools right at coming into your senior year. Yeah. So maybe tell us a little bit about that, playing in high school and that decision to maybe switch schools. Maybe if you're a young hooper and you recognize the situation isn't best for you, you got to switch it up. So take it off, man. We're excited to hear from you.
Take it back in high school. That's 2012.
We kick it way back.
Long time. But now when I was in high school, I was a really good player. I was like one of the top players in Baltimore. That's why I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. One of the top players. And up until my junior year, I already committed to college. No, I committed to college my senior year. But I already knew what college I was going to. So up until my junior year, I actually was about to fail out. I went to like a college preparatory high school. It's my first 3 years. So that shit was hard as hell. Like it was like actually like college courses type of so I was in jeopardy of failing out of school.
Did you go there originally because of the ball also?
Yeah,
okay.
And because it was a private school. So I grew up in kind of like a rough neighborhood. So my dad was like, you go to this high school, we kind of get you away from all that. And, you know, it was like a predominantly white school. Wasn't many black people there. So it was like I was kind of away from a lot of stuff. And the ball was good. But, yeah, so I almost failed out of there. So my parents, they recognized it because if I would have failed out, it would have jeopardized my chance of going to college. So I left there, and then I went to like a public school like down the street from my house. But it was like a public school that was like known for winning championships, like a very, very prestigious public school. So I ended up going there. We won like the championship in city, but then we lost like the state championship. And then, yeah, so my reason for transferring wasn't because of like playing or anything. It's more so a future decision that I had to make.
So as basketball has been like big in your family, was that something that growing up it was always a big part of your life? Or is it when you realize you're getting like, you know, always loved basketball and you're getting bigger, you're like, okay, this is what I want to do. I want to go to college and hoop.
Yeah, so my dad, he went up until like the college level, but then he hurt his knee, so he couldn't play no more. So he always kind of like instilled that into me growing up. I wasn't tall growing up, so my first sport was baseball. I was a baseball player. But then when I got to high school, 'cause I was playing it all throughout. I mean, I was playing it basketball a little here and there, but I didn't really hit my growth spurt until I was in high school.
What position did you play?
In baseball, yeah. Shortstop.
Okay.
Shortstop and the first base.
Okay.
Yeah, so utility.
So I did both of those. So growing up, I did that leading up until high school. I would, you know, play basketball as well, but not as much as baseball. But then once I shot up, my mom was like, yeah, no more baseball. I'm going to play basketball because I think I can't remember how tall I was, but I shot up. I was huge in my freshman year. So that's kind of how we started doing basketball. My dad always wanted me to do basketball. Baseball was kind of like what I loved. I don't know what got me into it. I think I was just playing with my homeboys and stuff, and I thought it was fun. So
baseball's a great sport.
And I was good at it. So I kind of just stuck with me. So, you know, my parents supporting me and kind of just allowing me to, like, I guess, express myself. They kind of let me ride that wave. But then once I got taller, they were like, yeah, you can focus on basketball.
You think there's anything about baseball that playing that growing up helped you with basketball later? We speak to guys all the time who've played a few sports, and baseball specifically is interesting. Maybe there are things that translate to basketball.
I'll say probably hand-eye coordination.
I was just gonna
Probably
say
that.
coordination,
Yeah, it's
bro.
probably the main thing I can really think of as far as that. Maybe I guess like speed or like the first step, like a quick first step. But I kind of lost all that as I got older because my knees ain't the same how they used to be. When I was younger, I had the first quick step. But
So when you hit that growth spurt freshman year, you decided you're gonna take up basketball much more seriously.
yeah.
What were the next steps from there?
Up until when I decided I was gonna play basketball,
Yeah.
my dad just kind of like driving it home, so I was kind of pumping into it like AAU, all these like top 100 camps, 5-star basketball camps, EYBL.
Right.
He was just like, I was in probably like 3 or 4 rec leagues at one time when I really started playing basketball because my dad was just like, we're going to get you as many leagues, as many tournaments, as many AAU. I played like for like 3 AAU teams at one time, so we're going to just pump it in and so you can kind of get adjusted to it, get acclimated to it, and like really like, just kind of like fall in love with it.
That's awesome. And you said like even in your junior year, you already knew where you wanted to go. What made you want to go to St. Joe's?
Cause they recruited me since my freshman year in high school. Like they offered me my freshman year in high school, so that was the first offer I ever had. And up until from freshman year to high school to senior year in high school, the assistant coaches would come to my games every single game. They never missed a game.
Oh wow.
So, which was that love right there, like and I visited the school as well. I liked the school a lot. And from there, I kind of just I fell in love with it.
And those same coaches were with you from the freshman year of high school. They were coming to all your games and all of your high school career, and they stayed with you also during St. Joe's.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep.
We hear a lot of people come on and they say like the coaches have a big deal to where they're going to commit to college.
Yeah. That shows. That's why a lot of guys decommit too, because the coaches that's recruiting them, they'll either get fired or they'll leave. So then now it's like, this dude I've been talking to for the past 2 or 3 years, he promised me all these things when I come there, and then he's gone. So like now I got to kind of give my future to a stranger, someone I don't know. So that makes a lot. That goes with it a lot.
So when you played at St. Joseph's, what I noticed was we have a lot of different athletes, and especially now in the scene today, you see athletes like all the time. They're transferring schools, they're switching, whether that be for these days NIL purposes or maybe they just see a better opportunity, better playing time somewhere else. But with players like you who stay for 40 years and each year they're improving, and by the time they're like a senior, that's when you're making the most impact and you're playing the most. So that process, why do you think hoopers these days aren't really so inclined to just stick around for all 4 years and grind it out like you did and eventually shine in the spotlight like you did in the tournament? So do you feel like these days that kids are kind of dipping on the schools that they're at and going somewhere else? Think that overall might like negatively impact a player instead of really grinding it out?
For sure. Now with the NIL, everybody's going to chase the money. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go where I can either play like without kind of really working as hard or whichever school is paying me the most. That's why the NIL is trying to kind of kill all of that. But for me, in my situation, I was my first 3 years, I didn't really play as much because I was behind like NBA players, overseas players. I don't know if you know Langston Galloway.
Of course.
Yeah, so he was on my team, but dudes behind me were pros. So I kind of had to kind of wait my turn. And to me personally, I thought transferring would be me quitting. It would be me like, oh, I'm not getting the shine I want. I'm not playing. I don't want to be here no more. I'm gonna go somewhere where it's easy. My dad actually wanted me to transfer. He was like, my mom and dad, they were like, you need to transfer, go somewhere where you can play. It's going to mess up your chance to go pro, this, that, and the third. But me personally, I would thought it was quitting. So I kind of put the work in. I was overweight my junior year. I weighed like 245, close to 250. My junior year going to my senior year, I dropped 20 pounds. I went into my senior year 230, 235. I had one of the best single seasons in St. Joe's history. And I kind of just wanted to take that bet on myself. I tell a lot of dudes growing up, or like that's coming up, that like you want to go to a school not based off their name, but a school that's going to develop you. And that's kind of why I chose St. Joe's. I had NC State, I had Texas, I had University of South Florida. I had like a bunch of bigger schools that wanted me that I could have gone to just to say I went to an NC State. But St. Joe's, that was kind of school that like, again, like I said, developed you. Those big name schools, those Dukes, those Kentuckys, if you don't produce that first year, they'll recruit over you. You know what I'm saying? They're going to find the next guy that's going to be better than you. So St. Joe's, it's like a household name kind of school where it's kind of a little bit smaller, and they kind of take that time to kind of develop you to the player that you want to be or what they need you to be.
Right, and they really lock in on you, nurtured you from freshman year of high school, already
Exactly.
watching you, so they know where your game was and
Exactly.
where it could be.
Exactly.
So how did they help you develop your game?
First was losing weight. I was fat as hell. I needed to get that weight. I needed to get that weight down ASAP. I think that was like the main thing. And besides that was confidence. I think they knew I had the skill, but more so it was just like a confidence issue. And then that was my junior year going to my senior year. You know, we have like these preseason meetings with our coaches, and my coach at the time was Phil Martelli. He's like a prestigious coach. He coached Jameer Nelson. He coached Delonte West. He coached a lot of pros. He made it to the Final Four. Almost won the national championship. So he was a prestigious coach. So he brought me to his office, and he was like, my goal for you this year or this season is going to be you're going to be the most improved player of the year. Like, you're going to have the best year I've ever seen one have. He told me that. And that by itself was like, damn, like, you think so? I didn't think so. But if you think so, shit, then let's get to work kind of thing. So, like, he kind of instilled that confidence into me. And from there, it kind of just took off.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it did really pay off.
Yeah.
So you had that insane opportunity in March Madness in your senior year to obviously make a huge impact and hit that game winner.
Yeah.
So when you're going into that game, we speak to people who have that experience in March Madness. Like, my favorite question I like to ask is, that's kind of the tournament where anybody can beat anybody.
Exactly.
And that's the whole idea of the tournament, is you just never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So when you're going into that tournament, and what's the mindset of your team that you have to tell everybody that, you know, we have a chance, we're going to keep going in? And what was that like playing in that big stage? You know, you had your college career up until that point, and then what was finally you made it to the tournament, you get your game selected, and then going to the game. What was that process like?
It kind of like you feel like ain't nobody really fucking with you, because we won the A10 tournament going into the NCAA tournament. So we kind of already had the standpoint like nobody really can fuck with us. Like, we can beat anybody in front of us. We were a good ass team. And being in that stage, that shit was amazing. I had our first game. I think the game where I hit the game winner. My mom and dad, they never missed a a college game. From my freshman year when I didn't play at all to my senior year, they never missed a game. They can't, because I'm from Baltimore. Philly was only like an hour and a half, 2 hour drive. So they would come knowing I wouldn't play, but still, that was like the kind of support system I had. So leading up to that Cincinnati game, it was in Omaha, Washington. That's Washington, right? Omaha, Washington.
Nebraska, middle of nowhere.
No, not Omaha. My
Seattle.
My geography's fucked up.
That's all right.
Where's Gonzaga?
Oh, I think Washington.
Spokane. It's in Spokane, Washington.
I don't even know where that is.
It's far as hell. Yeah. I'm in Spokane, Washington.
That's far from Philly. Far from Baltimore.
It's far from all that. So that's where our not division, but our games was. And we're warming up and shit, and all you hear from the stands is, "Let's go, Bubba." Only person ever in the world calling me Bubba is my mom. So my mom, she surprised me, flew out to the game.
Oh, wow.
So I look up, my mom in the stands like. So I walk out the fucking layup line. I run up to the stands to hug her, because she never missed a game. So that was the game. You know, I hit the game winner and all that. But that was kind of the emotions, the leading up to that game. And then as a senior, shit, when you go into a game like that or a tournament like that, you ain't got shit else to lose. That's kind of how and the other seniors on our team thought that, like, we ain't got shit else to lose. You know what I'm saying? This is the kind of end all be all. We lose this shit, we done for. So, like, how do we kind of want our names, or like how we are, to like be lasted into this kind of St. Joseph history? Like, how do you want to be remembered? And I think we did a damn good job, you know, from what our expectations was leading up. You know, people didn't think we were going to be that good. So I think leading up to, I think we surpassed a lot of people's expectations.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You got the game winner for Mama right there.
Yeah, facts.
That's
facts.
awesome.
So after that, when you have the summer league experience, that is something that's for you in your career common. You did that a few times. So we want to hear about that. Maybe the differences from year to year. But when you go to the summer league and you have that experience, and then at a point realize that you're going to go play overseas, that's what you're going to do afterwards.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that coming right after the draft. We've heard that sometimes at summer league teams, they just focus on the guys that they draft, and they don't really give a shit about the players that are undrafted.
Yeah.
So was that something that you experienced?
Yeah, so I went undrafted. So I actually went to the NBA draft combine. It's this tournament called Portsmouth. So after our season, you know about Portsmouth?
Yeah.
So it's like kind of for all seniors. It's like a regular basketball camp. You play 5-on-5, do drills and all that stuff. But like the top 5 players from that camp get invited to the NBA draft. So I was one of the top 5. I got invited to the NBA draft. That was a blessing. That was a very good experience. But I still went undrafted. From there, who did I get drafted? I mean, who did I play with my first year? I think my first year I played with Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah.
I did see that. It was Dallas.
It was Dallas. I don't know what rookie they had. I don't think they had a pick. But
fuck Dallas.
I don't think they had a pick. But like going off to like just that idea of who they focus on, because I played when they drafted Markelle Fultz.
Okay.
I was on that summer league team.
They should have invested in you.
But I was on that team, and they cater more to the guys they drafted, which makes sense, especially first round draft picks. I was on there when they had Ben Simmons. They going to cater to those guys, so like you got to kind of get in where you fit in, and it's like now I would never do summer league if I knew how it kind of was. It's a shit show. I don't know if you've been to Vegas during summer league.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shit show. It's like so much going on. Everyone's like celebrities and it's parties everywhere. It's a fucking, I don't know why they have it there because it's fucking distracting as hell.
Yeah.
But they got 3 different summer leagues. I don't know if they have it now. But
I wonder if that's a part of it. Like
see
having it,
distractions and stuff.
see how players
I
deal
think
with
so,
it.
because stocks have went down from bad nights going in fucking summer league in Vegas.
Right.
But they have another one in Utah, and they have another one in like Orlando, and I think LA. Now they got one in LA.
Mm-hmm.
So they moving them around, but for the most part, I didn't like that. I had a bad experience because it was just like you gotta, like I said, get in where you fit in. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not promised the kind of the same amount of minutes as like the main key guys, then you might have guys from like the G League that are trying to get roster spots, and then usually the head coaches for the summer league team are the G League coaches for that team, or like the assistant coaches for the main team. So you might be on the team with a G League guy and then a guy that plays on the roster, but he's like an end of the bench guy. So now they got to kind of get his confidence up, but he's your position. So you got to they're going to try to nudge him to go before you, and don't let him be fucking playing well, because then you ain't going to see the floor the whole summer league. You know what I'm saying? So now, then if you decide, like say if this is your 3rd or 4th summer, because I've been in summer league while I was playing overseas. So that was like my damn whole end of my summer. You know what I'm saying? Trying to take that opportunity and get that chance, and then, with not being able to do it, then you got to go right overseas kind of thing.
Right. So I have a couple questions. Yeah. One, like going to summer league and having those experiences, first of all, what made you go back? And second of all, were coaches telling you like an expectation of time on the court, and was those promises not being made?
Everybody's situation is different, right? So I was told at moments like, you're going to play today, be ready, So, because I had a really good summer league. I think my last summer league, I had a really good, I think I averaged probably close to 20 my last summer league. But they'll tell you, like, before the game or the next day, like, guys who are going to play, guys aren't going to play. But each organization is kind of different, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. What was the other question?
And then what made you also, like, go back to summer league after other couple years?
I think I already played 3 years professionally. And my last year before going to summer league, it was in France. It was a pretty good year. And I was just like, it's either now or never. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to play in the league, you got a short window. They cater to younger guys. I think I was turning 24 or 25. So it was kind of like either I try it now or don't try it at all. So I wanted to try it. It worked out for me. I had a pretty good summer league, but, I signed an Exhibit 10, which is like you sign to play for the preseason, then you play for the G League. So I played for that G League team. And it was kind of one of those things just like, I never played for the G League. I kind of wanted to just say I did it to, like, take that chance on myself, because I probably would have shot myself in the foot or regretted not even trying. So I wanted to try to see how far I went. Awful experience. Would never do it again.
That was with Philly too, right?
Yeah, it was with Philly. So awful experience. The best experience probably was that I was in Delaware, so it was only an hour from home. But
that's cool.
It was a good organization. It was cool being with the Sixers during the preseason, like kind of experiencing that NBA life. That shit was dope. But yeah, I probably wouldn't do the G League ever again.
So once you move on from that experience of the G League and go play in France, that was one of I believe your first professional experience post G League.
No, so when I went to the G League, I already played pro for 3 years. Oh,
okay. So your experience reflecting that coming right off of summer league, is that something that a lot of summer league guys are talking about? To maybe a lot of guys are talking, oh, what are you going to do? What's in the future? And then what does it talk about going overseas? Like, okay, now I'm going to go overseas. Did you know that was somewhere you're going to do? And did you have an agent that was all the time telling you what options were available.
After that G League year?
Yeah, before your first time going overseas.
No, after college. Right?
Oh yeah, so that nobody wants to go overseas. So like, obviously the goal, the dream, what we work for so hard our lives is playing in the NBA. That's everybody's dream, every Hooper's dream. So obviously you don't even think about the G League or think about
overseas.
You don't think about overseas. That's like in the back of your mind. You don't even think there's a life overseas.
Is there talk about that?
I didn't know there was basketball overseas.
Oh, okay.
When I was in college, I didn't know. When I was a senior, when I was in the draft combine, going to all these NBA workouts, I didn't know there was overseas basketball. I was so like not really into that. I was kind of locked into either getting drafted or trying to make this NBA dream happen. For a smaller percent of guys, it does. For the majority, it does not happen. So, like, there is a life overseas, and it's like I didn't realize it. I wasn't used to it. Of course, a lot of guys – that's why a lot of guys kind of chase that dream in the G League now. Like, you'll see, like, 34, 35-year-old guys and be like, yo, why is he could be over here making this much money.
Right.
But, like, it's an adjustment coming over here playing, bro. Like I said, for 10 months, you're away from home, away from your family. A lot of guys can't function with that like that. I played with dudes that are like physically couldn't function being away from the States because especially dudes that played in the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've had ex-NBA teammates that were just like, this shit's hard. Like, you know, because they're used to kind of getting catered to or they're used to a certain lifestyle. But over here, it's like you kind of get it out the mud. Like,
you got to be independent.
Yeah, you got to be very independent. I had one teammate who was like, he never drove. He always had a driver. So he was over here, he was like, fuck, I ain't got my license. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, wow.
So shit like that. So, like, it's an adjustment.
You know, especially adjustment with these Israeli drivers. Like,
Right.
good fucking luck. So when you did play in France with that experience, but we were speaking to a few guys who have had played in that league there. Yeah. So what did you think about playing there as opposed to maybe playing in the summer league, playing here even? Greece. So initially when you start your career overseas, what are some things that you didn't expect that were going to be, you know, super big when you showed up overseas?
I guess the style of play. Every country kind of has its own unique style of play. Where Spain, I never played in Spain, but I watched, you know, Spain, like the Spanish league. They're fast, very up-tempo. I don't know if you saw the new rule that, like, if a ball goes out of bounds and no one touches it, then they can just get it and throw it in bounds. Like, they don't have to wait for a ref to come get it. Like, little rules like that kind of make the game go faster. France, kind of the same. They got, like, a bunch of, like, all African dudes. Like, usually majority, like, French African dudes. So they're fast and tall and long. Greece is like slower. They're bigger dudes. You know what I'm saying? So, like, every league is kind of different. So you kind of you have to adjust to what kind of league you're in and that play style. And also, me being a rookie at 20, 21, 22 years old, playing against a 30-year-old man with 2 kids at home, trying to fucking get food for his family. You know what I'm saying? It's a different. In college, we just shooting the shit, playing because we love it for the love of the game. But now you're playing against motherfuckers that got a family to feed. So, like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's a different mindset against the dudes you're playing for because, like, they're like alpha blood, literally. So, like, that was kind of my biggest adjustment because I was scrawny coming out. I was little, and then I had to guard these big-ass, grown-ass men that fucking, if they get cut, they going to be homeless type shit. You know what I'm saying?
And they're playing physical as fuck, too.
As fuck. Yeah. That's it. You know what I'm saying? They playing physical, bodies, throwing bodies, you get knocked down. It was crazy.
So coming out of St. Joe's, where was the first overseas stint?
France.
Dijon. France. And then you said that was a great year for you.
Yeah, I did good my rookie year.
And then, like, in the beginning, you were already on a tear. How did you adapt so quickly?
I think because we had a young team. So, like, kind of all of us ain't really know what to do out here. We always kind of figuring it out. I think we only had, like, 2 or 3 vets, like, older dudes. But for the most part, we were young. Yeah. So we kind of all just kind of had to figure that shit out.
And high school, college, and first year in France, what positions were you playing, and did you have to ever adapt and switch?
So high school, I was a back to the basket 5. I was like a strictly don't leave the paint 5 man because I was just taller than everybody. So, like, excuse me, when you're that young, or that like not say young, but like when guys aren't that developed yet and you're just tall, you just immediately assume, okay, he's tall, put him close to the basket, he can just score layups. So that's kind of what I was doing. I didn't really start shooting and stuff until I got to like junior to senior year of high school, and then like college, and that's when I kind of like developed into like a stretch 4, more of a shooter. And then that's when I just started just kind of just adapt as like just be established as a shooter. But before I was like a back to the basket big.
So also you were saying how the St. Joe's coaches were coming to your games from freshman year. Did they have any influence on trying to get you to become more of a shooter?
They did, but they can't. So they couldn't say or do too much because it was like rules against that. They can't really talk to us. But like I think they could talk to our parents. So I don't know if he said something to my dad's ear or my mom's ear, but they started kind of encouraging me to like stretch out, more, start shooting jumpers more. Because I could always shoot, I just never did it.
Yeah.
So then then my coaches started, telling me to shoot more and stuff, and that's when I guess I started getting more comfortable with it.
And then how'd that play develop in France?
Oh, that shit was wonderful.
That's awesome.
That shit was wonderful.
Yeah, bro. And playing in France, like off the court, how was that for your first year overseas by yourself? You're not with your family, not nearly as close. Your mom can't be at every game anymore.
Yeah, that shit was hard. Yeah, that shit was the homesickness kind of sinked in. Like the food, I lost a lot of weight when I was in France my first year because I just wasn't eating the food.
Didn't fuck with the French
food. I couldn't eat the food. I didn't like the food, so that's when I started cooking, learning how to cook. Like I'm a good ass chef. I can cook anything now. But I was learning how to cook. For the most parts, like our team, because I guess a lot of dudes didn't want to go out, so we weren't really sociable, as like a unit. As we were good on the court, chemistry wise, but off the court, I guess everybody kind of was going through their own thing. So I didn't really hang out with guys off the court. Just like a few like the older guys, like the vets, because they probably understood what I was going through because they've been in my shoes, but. Besides that, it was hard, bro. It was a tough adjustment. The language barrier. I wasn't like in Paris where they kind of speak English. I was in Dijon where it's a small,
there's no English.
Yeah, it's a small city, so like nobody really spoke English. You had to have Google Translate on your phone and shit like that. So it was tough.
So you're saying in France the social life was a bit minor, but like France, Greece, we said Turkey, and now in Israel, socially and off the court, how do you feel? The players kind of deal with life like outside of basketball? I
mean, everybody got their own kind of way that people go out. People may go. Now here, I go to the beach as much as I can. I like being outside. So when the weather's good, I go to the beach. I like how it's more Americanized here, so I can go to different type of restaurants and I can have food that I like.
You'd say it's more Americanized here than the other places that you've been?
Yeah.
Probably get a good burger here. You go to the beach. People speak in English.
People speak in English. Right. Yeah. Mostly everybody here speaks English.
That's great to hear. I mean, we love to hear guys come out to Israel and like really love getting into the culture. Yeah. Have you had any Shabbat dinners or anything like that?
I've had a few last year. I haven't been to one. I don't think I've been to one this year. I had a few last year though. I like that. I like that whole tradition of just like that kind of where the family gets together every Friday and y'all sit down and y'all eat. Like that's dope. Because I'm a big family guy back at home, so we have like Sunday dinners and stuff like that.
For sure.
So it kind of reminds me of that.
So awesome. Your first experience in Israel was at Holon, correct? And then you left and came back for Apol, and then now in Ramat Gan. Correct me if I'm wrong. But when you first came for Apol, what did you hear about playing for Israel, like playing in Israel before you got here? You hear from other guys talking about playing overseas. Yeah. So who did you hear about playing in Israel from, and was it anything like you expected?
I didn't hear from nobody. I heard from my agent because I was coming off of, that was after COVID. So I played in France. I didn't even play a clock a game, but I played with Cholet. After the G League, I left him into the G League because of the situation there. I wasn't playing. So I went to Cholet, and then when I went to Cholet, COVID happened. So it was kind of just a stop in there. I was a fucking Amazon driver for a minute. I fucking worked at a fucking gun range because I'm a gun instructor. I'm a gun instructor. I did that shit, and then my agent called me and was like, "We got a job in Israel that wants you. You want to go there?" And I was like,
"Bet.
Fuck else, I'm gonna go." Yeah, that's kind of how I got introduced.
Are you staying ready during that, like basketball wise? You staying ready to come
you
play?
got to. Yeah, you got to. Because you never know. Like, for that reason, you never know.
So Israel was one of the first leagues that kind of got restarted after COVID, and it was a lot of people had this experience, or a lot of players, I should say, that they weren't sure when their money was going to come. They didn't know it was going to come on time. They didn't know what the heck was going on. Sure. And so with Israel specifically, it was one of the first leagues to get off the ground. And then when people kind of get introduced to playing here, they realized that there's a very solid fan base here. As you said, it's a great place for international players to come and play, and they're paying you on time, and things are pretty much organized. So when you show up in Holon, like with those crazy fans and like with the experience you had there, so coming to Israel for the first time, I guess, like, did you expect anything from the level of play of the Israeli players that were there? And actually, have you seen them improve since you've come back for your second stint? Because we've been watching Israeli basketball for a while.
Yeah.
We feel like it's improving the new Israeli generation.
Absolutely.
So tell us what you think about that.
I definitely think it's definitely improving. We got a lot of good guys now that, I've played with 5 years ago that I kind of seen develop. Like, I played against Yamadar when I was at Halon, and he was young. He was like, when he played with Hapoel Tel Aviv, he was young. So like seeing him there and then seeing him now, you could tell he kind of improved. And a bunch of other older guys in the league that kind of was there when I was playing back 5 years ago. But as far as like what you said about the crowd, bro, I think Halon got one of the best crowds.
They're crazy.
Halon's wild.
That shit reminds me of college, bro. That's why I loved it so much. It reminded me of college. When I got there, they were outside my door. The moment I landed, I got to an apartment. They were outside my door or outside my apartment. Like, I still got the video on my phone outside my apartment with drums banging and shit, like chanting my name and shit. Like, I ain't never experienced nothing like that. And I was like, yeah, I love it here.
They are diehard.
I'm glad they're not outside your actual door, because then they know which apartment is yours.
No,
After a bad game, they'll come say what's up.
But my mom was like, because I faced my mom, I was like, yo, look at this shit. She was like, yeah, don't have a bad game. They know the fuck you live at now.
You definitely don't want to have a bad game in Cologne.
Yeah, you don't. We just went to Cologne and Herzliya, and we saw what happened when Cologne didn't do well. We thought the fans were cursing out the refs, but they weren't.
It's the players for sure.
So
you had some experience with that?
They love me. That's
good.
No, stay safe out there though.
Yeah.
For me, that's funny. I mean, we see the love that they have, so it's intense, it's legit, and it's a good place. And even for playing like for Hapoel. So another question I was going to ask you was, you had that time at Hapoel, and now you're at Ramat Gan, and you see now that Hapoel is trying to become like a big player in the Israeli game. They're trying to invest more money. So from your perspective, how important is that to have like another kind of powerhouse, quote unquote, in the Israeli league? Because I think that's kind of interesting how now we're having two. Hapoel's looking pretty good. Who knows, maybe they'll make Euro League next year. We hope so. So how important do you think that is? Actually, a bit of a random question, but for the Israeli league to have not just one team that's dominating all the time.
It's good. It's really good for the league, especially to have that chance to go to play in European competition. Like, you had us, Halon, Tel Aviv. I think Herzliya was supposed to, but then it got canceled. Jerusalem. And Maccabi, 5 or 6 teams that's playing in international competition. Now the world is kind of seeing their odds. They're playing against other teams in the world, and it kind of allows Israel basketball to get their name out of there. Where, like, I've spoken to, like, in the past, I've spoken to, like, agents or, like, other GMs. Like, agents told me, and that was like, you played in Halon, but Israel isn't really, like, their league isn't respectable. Like, the league is, like, the top leagues are, like, Turkey, Germany, Spain, obviously China. Leagues like those are like the big leagues where the big players play at. And it's like Israel is like, we don't know. But like, when you have the more teams you have that can play international competition, shows that like we can compete with other teams in the world and still kind of like do well. So it's real good for Israel basketball.
And you're seeing a shift in that now.
Yeah. Because like the last few years when I was here, it was top heavy. You know what I'm saying? Like every year it was either Maccabi, Hapoel Tel Aviv, or Jerusalem, the top 3 every year. And it was like, who gonna win this year? It's gonna be them 3. Like, you know what I'm saying? If you playing for another team here, you just playing for some money. You playing for a check. That was it. But now, like, I think like 2 years ago, Herzliya won.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So like it's starting to like kind of shift and move now. Like, even like this year, I think Beersheba beat Hapoel Tel Aviv.
Right. Herzliya beat Maccabi.
Yeah,
a bunch of Maccabi lost a lot of games.
Exactly. So now it's kind of getting evened out, where it's like, all right, like it's starting to put some respect in the league.
Right, but and like besides for being respectable around the world, would you say like even while playing in Cologne, would you say that forget like the Israeli guys, but like in general the league has become like much more competitive?
Yeah.
And that like you're playing against guys who are like much better.
Yeah. I've played against a few guys that was like, he probably won't be here next year. He'll probably go to the league or like go to like Euro League or something like that. Like you see dudes. You'll see gems on like smaller teams. I'll be like, maybe not this year, but next year or like in a few years, this dude's gonna be pretty good.
Right.
I see that all the time in this league.
I mean, and you're seeing as a whole, like overseas ball is becoming more and more like popular rather than the NBA. Like NBA, we love the NBA, of course, but like it's a show, and like here you come and every game is important. We were watching a game. I think it was like Hapoel Tel Aviv against Maccabi. It was like. It It was the semis game the other day, and like every basket matters.
Yeah.
There's not
Hell
one
yeah.
basket you could just go up and down
Yeah.
and shoot the ball. Like
Yeah.
every basket, every
Yeah.
possession matters.
Hell yeah, especially like in the league, like you said, like the first 5 to 7 minutes of the game is kind of like they bullshitting. Like
Oh my
they,
God.
you know what I'm saying? They bullshitting. Y'all probably can go out there and get a bucket.
You can.
they bullshitting, but they only lock in until kind of like the third or fourth quarter. But like you said here, like
Right.
yeah, because if you go down in the league, it's not like, because I've seen games in the league, they score so high. I've seen teams down by 20 and then come back and go on this
Right.
run, and then now it's tied up. But like here, if you down by 20, unless you got a good ass game or a good ass comeback, that's the game over.
Yeah.
At that point.
It's very offensive heavy. Like, I mean, ever since Curry came into the league and like really took over the style of basketball, you know, it's become much more of an offensive game.
Yeah.
And here you see like defense is so important.
Hell yeah.
And like you won't see so many games over 100 points.
Yeah.
In the NBA, every game is
Every
over
game,
100
like
points.
130, 140, like crazy shit.
Yeah.
How do you
As
think
well.
your game specifically has like translated well to playing here in Israel? Like, what do you think you bring to the table that makes you so successful here in Israel?
Being able to shoot the ball. I mean, you know, obviously shooting the ball is always good. Being a good shooter and stretching the floor with my size. You know, I'm a big stretch forward. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of foremen are kind of slow-footed, not as mobile, can't really get out there to guard me. I think now as I'm getting older in my later career, me being a stretch four or floor spacer not only like benefits me, but it benefits my teammates now. You know what I'm saying? Depending on how the team is built around me. So we got a guard who, now that I'm stretching the floor now, even I can have an off night. I wouldn't be able to make shit, but I shoot so well, you gotta respect me. So that's just another guy away from the basket, so that now my guard can drive. Or now that, you know, Amin, for example, I'm away from the basket, so now usually my guy who like helps when Amin picks and rolls, he can't help me because if he leaves me, he's thinking in his mind, oh shit, they might get it to Isaiah, he
Right.
might hit a three. So now he's hesitant. Amin got a lob for a dunk.
Right.
Amin got a lob for a layup. You know what I'm saying? So like even just me being there to space the floor kind of shows some benefit to like helping us win.
For sure.
How do you notice the coaching here is different based on other places you've played? Do you think it's maybe a more strategic approach versus like kind of guys just trying to motivate their guys? Do you think here in Israel maybe some of the different coaches you've played for has been more strategy based?
Yeah. I had a coach in Halon, Steph. That's probably one of the smartest coaches I ever played for. You know, he really studies the game, bro. Like he like to a T. Like he really. But then you got the other coaches, like the coach I have now. He's a player coach, where now he kind of like he's been out there on the floor, so he can kind of see things that you wouldn't necessarily see if you didn't play basketball before. I think the coaching here is a lot more laid back in a sense. At least the coaches I've had out here, more laid back, rather than in Europe where you had these coaches that were screaming, throwing shit on the floor, cussing you out. Again, I think him being a player coach, he kind of is like more relaxed and chill, because I guess that's probably what he ain't want when he was playing.
Right.
So he's probably, let me talk to them how I would want to been talking.
Understands where you guys are.
He understands stuff, but some
For sure.
I had coaches in the past that never played a game of basketball in their life, and it was like hard to kind of relate to him when he told me to do shit, because it was like, bro, you don't understand, like you're not out, you never been out here before, so you don't really understand. And, those would be the ones that kind of yell the most and try to preach the most. So I had a variety of coaches.
Nice. And then how's the communication between the team been, and like how have you evolved to become more of a leader on the court?
Communication been good, bro. I think we got good chemistry. We hang out off the court. I think chemistry is the key thing, bro. Chemistry,
Sure.
getting along with your teammates, kind of understanding their weaknesses and their strengths, what they can and cannot do on the court, and not putting them in those situations to kind of fuck up. We got good chemistry. I'm cool with everybody on the team. I think everybody likes each other. Everybody cool with each other.
It's important.
Yeah. So, yeah.
For sure.
What other things
And
said?
I also, I'm curious, like we met at Clutch.
Yeah.
Oded is doing
Yeah.
something great over there.
Yeah.
How do
my
you
God.
feel that's really helping Israel ball? You got a guy like Denny Avdia,
Yeah.
who is from Israel playing. He's a big role in that
Yeah.
Blazers organization now, and he comes for the summer.
Yeah.
And he has like a legit gym to go and train
Yeah.
at, and other guys like you have a place to actually go train where they're like overseas.
Yeah.
Getting court time is very difficult in general.
So Clutch that's the best thing that happened to me since playing here, for sure. Because having that outlet of just like not being able to go to like your team gym and kind of having that escape to go somewhere else and either have like a rebounder or a defender or just get so many reps up that you wouldn't be able to do at your own gym is beneficial to anybody. And again, Oded being a player, I played with Oded in Halone. He was on that team with me. So, me and him are tight. We're like brothers. So him he's smart as hell too.
He's smart.
He's
guy.
a very smart point guard. He has a lot of. He played with Maccabi Tel Aviv.
He played in Herzliya too.
Yeah, towards the end of his career, I think he finished with Maccabi though. So like him having that experience, he can kind of implement kind of what you need to do. He watches film. He'll watch film with you. So having that mind and having that outlet of his gym that nobody else in Israel has. In the States, you have those gyms everywhere. With C Brickley,
Dash.
So those other gyms, it's kind of like what's the word? Like it's just like it's overpopulated in a sense. Like everybody kind of wants to be that guy, but like here, he genuinely wants to get you better, and like there's nowhere else you can go to get that.
I mean, over there, there's a lot of supply, a lot of demand, but here there's like no supply.
Exactly.
And a lot of demand.
Exactly. In the States, motherfuckers want to look cool and they just want to do it for the Instagram pictures and stuff like that. But you can tell he really wants to get players better. Like he really focuses on your strengths and your weaknesses, and he wants to try to get you as good as he possibly can.
And you're saying he's analyzing the game with you too.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
That's huge. It's what we need to kind of like keep going here in Israel, move to the next step, because we just want this league to keep growing, and we really think it is. Like for us in our experience and what we've talked to, even just from you today, hearing the potential that we feel this league has and the direction that it's going and trending, whether it's the players that are here or whether it's the people that are coming in. Yeah. So we're definitely excited about it.
Sure.
And just to hear your experience and playing a lot of different places has been awesome. Just to hear from our perspective. So we want to as we're starting to wrap up, we have some more things we want to do with you. We do our shot clock segment. Yeah. Every episode we'll give you 24 seconds.
I do want to hear we were talking about this on our way in, is that a lot of guys who are coming out of college, going to the draft, maybe not getting drafted, going to the G League, going to the summer league, right? And they're not fitting into any team, right? And they kind of give up, right? And they're like, all right, that's my basketball career, when these guys have good talent, right? And they really have a lot of options that they don't know about. So if you can speak about that maybe, and what advice you'd have to players like this.
I mean, it's money to be made over here, bro. It's a lot of leagues, a lot of countries, a lot of teams that need good players, but you gotta have to want to make that sacrifice to come over here and give up 10 months out of your life to better the team or better yourself. It's not easy. That's the first thing I'm gonna say. It's not easy. It's not a cakewalk. You're not just gonna come over here if you're just doing it for the money. Don't come over here, because it's gonna be hard to adjust. But if you really love basketball, you really love getting better, you really love this game, coming over here, I think it's a blessing. It's worthwhile to my aspect, and it allows you to, maybe not next year or maybe not this year, you can be able to go to the G League or reach that goal you want to in the league. But I've seen dudes go undrafted, come to Europe and fucking kill. Now they're in EuroLeague, or now you go from EuroLeague, now you get a chance to go to the NBA. I've seen dudes go from the EuroLeague to the NBA at 32 years old. You know what I'm saying? Just because they had a good ass EuroLeague year. Or some dudes, Mitchich, yeah. Or some dudes don't even leave. Was it Vazenkov? He just did it. Some dudes don't even want to leave EuroLeague, because once they get to EuroLeague, you got the fans. It's a bigger type of fans than what I'm talking about alone. Like you see,
it's like real love.
You see Partizan and them fucking Red Stars. You got fans like that, and then you gotta think: do you want to go to EuroLeague and be like a number 1 or 2 option, or go to the league? Yeah, you get paid a hell of a lot more, but then now you're behind Braun, James Harden, Giannis. Now your role gets so much smaller. Now you got to play behind these NBA stars. You either won't even play, or you'll play and get, for 10 minutes, 2 shots a game, or you can stay in EuroLeague where you're still making $1 million, close to $1 million. Even if how good you are, you can make over $1 million, and you're like a solid role on a winning team, key guy on the team. So those are goals. I had to kind of shift my mindset to that when I realized that NBA dream wasn't for me. Obviously, getting not undrafted and all that kind of bothered me. When I was a rookie, I would always look at my phone and be like, oh, how did this dude get drafted, or how the fuck he on the NBA roster? I was killing him in the NBA workout. I've seen that shit. But then as time went on, it was what's for me is for me, and it was if the NBA wasn't my calling, what's the next step I can be? So then now it was okay, Euro Cup or EuroLeague is my NBA. Like that's my new goal. You know what I'm saying? So you can still achieve that kind of level of greatness. It don't necessarily have to be in the NBA. You know, does it being in the NBA, is that what you want? Obviously, everybody wants to be in the fucking NBA. Everybody wants to be $1 million. Everyone, but like at the end of the day, you can do just as well in the EuroLeague or in a Euro Cup team or shit. You can go the fucking Ramat Gan and still
Champions League.
Yeah, you can go Champions League. You can be a Ramat Gan. And you may not get paid $1 million, but you're going to go somewhere where someone appreciates your talent, appreciates your skill, will develop you. You'll get better. You can still play, make decent amount of money, and still be a key guy on the team.
I mean,
so there's more basketball.
It's not even just $1 million. You're making $300,000. That's more than what 90% of the population.
Exactly, and you still playing basketball. You're not sitting on the bench, sitting behind nobody.
You're doing what you love.
Yeah, exactly. So you still, and you in a good ass city in Tel Aviv. So
yeah, a hell of a lot better than the G League.
You know what I'm saying?
It's very well said what you said, and you also did say you are sacrificing 10 months of your year. Yeah. Like it's your life. It becomes your life, and wherever you are. But again, you are doing this in beautiful places around the world. You're getting to see the world. You're traveling. Let's say you're in EuroLeague, Euro Cup, Champions League. You're traveling all over the world. You know, so it's also a beautiful thing. Like in those 10 months. So.
And that shit gonna pay off. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
We don't our threshold. God willing, is to 36, 37, maybe 40 if your body holds up. But now you got to hold another 30, 35 years of your life, maybe 40 more to to make up for what you missed. Because a lot of people, they're scared that missed time. You know what I'm saying? I don't miss this, I don't miss that. You come over here, you still gonna have that time.
Right.
You go over here, make your money, kind of put your stamp on the world, in the basketball world, and then you go back over there and enjoy your life.
For sure. And your story is really inspiring. I mean, when you said that during COVID you were working as an Amazon driver, you were working as a gun instructor, right? And you didn't give up, right? No. That was just for that time being, but you were staying ready, and eventually you did end up going overseas again and making great money, and you're living a great life, thank God. And it's really awesome, and we really appreciate your story.
I appreciate y'all.
And now, like, towards the end of our podcast, we do a little segment. Okay. We get like a little shot clock, 24 to 30 seconds, and we basically ask you a bunch of questions, and you give us rapid fire answers.
All right, don't tell me nothing crazy. Nothing hard.
Nah. Nothing hard. All right, I'll put
but these are yes or no questions, or like
it's whatever you. Not really.
Short answers.
Short answers. 1-2 word answer. Well, we won't make it too hard on you.
Can I pass?
Yeah, you can pass.
We have to tell people that because they have to be able to pass.
There's some questions we fuck up on. So, all right, I got a little shot clock here.
All right, bet.
I'm not gonna repeat your question.
Okay, good. Yeah, don't do that.
Wait, so we doing 2?
I'm gonna go 2 and 2. And
all right.
Yeah. All right. Ready? Who's starting? All right, I'll start. 3, 2, 1. Favorite movie?
White Man Can't Jump.
Favorite sneaker?
Kobe's.
Pre-game meal?
Spaghetti.
Favorite superhero?
Spider-Man.
Favorite team?
Warriors.
Forgotten NBA player?
Ben Wallace.
Who's your GOAT?
Kobe.
Who do you want to play a one-on-one against?
Kobe.
Favorite artist?
Drake.
Favorite thing about Israel?
Beach.
Oh, what was that? 10?
That was smooth. That was good.
I think that's the record.
10's the record.
You got it.
You
got it.
We were on our game though. Normally we're asking.
I was driving fire.
We honestly like it's on us because like we had a couple of guys who were like
I was driving fire. And plus, like 3 of my answers were the same answer. 3 of y'all questions.
Kobe.
I think I said Kobe like 3 times. I think I said Kobe like 3
Kobe shoes, Kobe player. What was the other one?
It was
one-on-one.
Yeah.
I saw you're very into like the superheroes of comic culture. Yeah. So how'd you get into that? Just curious.
Through my dad, bro. So me and my dad, like that was kind of like our thing growing up. You know, we would always watch, like Saturday morning cartoons, Spider-Man, Justice League, fucking Super Friends. We watched that shit when I was growing up. So it kind of like stuck with me, and it kind of built me and my relationship with my dad even stronger. And I just kind of implemented that as I grew up. Like I kind of got obsessed with this shit because shit was around. He kind of put me onto it, and I've been around it my whole life. Like, I can call my dad right now and be like, "Who better, Spider-Man or fucking Superman?" And we'll be on the phone arguing for 30 minutes. Like, no matter, we wouldn't talk all day.
I think you should do it.
We wouldn't talk all day. I can call him like, "Who better, fucking Batman or Superman?" And bro, shit to get intense, bro. Like,
y'all ever watch The Big Bang Theory?
No.
Oh, you gotta watch it.
Why? It's not about superheroes.
What do you mean? It's not about superheroes. No. but it's basically like these like I guess geeky nerd whatever, and they just talk about superheroes all day. And it's like the
No, bro,
funniest
that
shit.
shit get intense, bro. I'm 30,
Bro, they be
he's
fighting.
fucking almost 60, bro. Like that shit get intense, bro. But nah, I've been with that my whole life.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
That's sick.
dude, we really appreciate you telling us your story.
I appreciate y'all, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for
Thank you
coming on,
coming.
man.
Yeah,
Best of
appreciate
luck.
y'all. Thank you.